So over here now I can set the order, but first I need to set the pattern. I want to set the pattern, right? So I want to make sure that it works only with the grid, and that's it. Order also I can set, but it's a single thing right now, a single bean, so no issues. I can just work with this. Cool. So now this thing will be executed, right? So this is configuration, so this bean will get created, and I have a filter now. So I have to restart it again. Now if I run the code again, this parameter will be printed over here, but okay, do we have anything in the filter? Okay, first filter is not printed. Da, 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 da. Why? Okay, what's the controller? It starts with greed in the filter controller. We have added that it will start with greed. So let's start it again. Okay. Okay, any input why this thing is not working? SP interceptor and the filter and the first filter config, and first filter needs to be printed every time we execute this, but it's not printing anything. Okay, does not make sense. This thing is not required. Let me stop the recording. And then we have created a second filter, right? And in second filter again extends once per filter. Same thing is going to happen here as well. This is out, second filter. Okay. All right, so I have to register it now. Okay, move it first, and then same thing, filter registration bean कहाँ गया? The filter registration bean, then the second filter, then my second filter. The name can be anything, right? It does not matter, and we have already seen the name of the bean will be the name of the method, right? When we use @bean. And then filter registration, second filter, then registration bean, right? And then registration bean dot new second filter, right? Remember this thing we have covered in last session also, right? So the pattern we can keep the same because we are not going to create another controller in today's session. All right. Just return it, and registration bean. Cool. So if we run this again, now if I now if I run this, okay, error. Okay, first filter only, and the response here we don't even get the response. All right. Okay, my bad. Okay, so in my first filter, this filter chain dot do filter, right? This thing, remember we have done this. Why we have done this? Do we have to do this thing or not? Okay, no one remembers now anything.
Yes, order.
Come again.
Yeah, actually, not remembered that.
Okay. All right, cool. See, today we are going to do the filters. So filters are similar, exactly same like the filters, right? Interceptors. What interceptors do for the normal Java servlets, interceptor is the same thing, but it's written in the Spring MVC. So if you remove the Spring MVC from there, then your code will not work for the interceptors, but for the filters it can work. So okay, see, over here we have our web browser, right? It, and it will hit the request to our backend server, right? And we have Tomcat, right, as a server, and Tomcat is running Springboot, and Springboot is having dispatcher servlet, right? This is the thing that happens, right? Dispatcher servlets now have all the mapping of all the beans of controllers and all, right? Like for greet it has the mapping. If the request is greet, then I have to go to greeting controller dot java. It has all the mapping like this. It has mapping of filters as well, that before greet, for greet, and all parts of greet that we have written over here. Okay, not here. Okay, let me just copy paste this thing in the second filter as well. All right. Okay. The thing that we have written over here, greet, this thing, it will have the data where we are. Okay, okay, so this all data again, but I need to execute, and to execute filter, first filter, first filter I need to execute. Then we have added one more thing, that there is second filter as well. There is second filter as well, right? So this dispatcher servlet will pass our request to the first filter, right? But the first filter then needs to pass the request, right? Again, first filters needs to pass the request to second filter,
Okay.
and then the second filter will pass the request eventually where it needs to be, right? Add greeting controller, oh my bad, add greeting controller dot java, and the method will be greet, right? So this is the mapping that we have also, right, over here. Greeting controller method is greet. Okay, greet user. So eventually this greet user method needs to get executed, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not, I am not passing the chain, then the filter will end, the request will end here, right? And then what happen, I will
Yes.
not going to get the response, right? And not even the second
Mm.
filter will be printed. So that's what was happening with us. No response, right, here, and
Okay.
only first filter is printed, not even the second filter, right?
Mm.
But I have changed the code now. My filter are passing the request now. Let's check it again. It is passing. Second filter, let's check. It's also passing, right? Now if we see the response we have, and first filter and second filter also we have, right? Both filters we do have. So now the chain is complete, right?
Yes, yes.
So this part is called filter chain. There can be multiple filters. So
Okay.
it will form a chain. But the thing is, now if I change the order, this thing is also, we have completed this thing in the last session as well. If I just change the order in which I'm registering the bean, right? Now I'm restarting the server. I'm running it again. So now the second filter is executed first, right?
Yes.
Because in the order that we have registering the bean, it's going to execute in that manner, right? But it's easier for us to understand now, because the thing is, it's in order, right?
Yeah.
Because there are only two beans and we can shuffle it. But if there are
Mm.
hundreds, I mean, nobody likes 100 beans, but there can be 5 or 6 or 10, right? Then there might be a chance whether, in which order we need to execute the filters. So for this, to solve that problem, we have one method, set order. So I will set order 0, and okay, and I will set order 1, right? This thing we have already covered earlier. Now if I run this again, coming back, now the first filter is executed first, right? Because its order is 0 and the second filter order is 1, right? So in the sorted order this will come first, right? So this is how we use the filters. So we have just completed the revision of filters. Now we will move to the interceptors. All right, so interceptors are exactly same. Okay, and let me do one thing. I will not write because the filter will do the same thing, so I will not create the, I'm commenting out the side, so there will be no bean of this. So the filters will not work, right? I will stop the filter to work, and we can check it also. No filter executed, right?
Yes.
We get the response as well. I can change it just to make sure that we know. See, and no data, right, from the filters. So now what we are going to do, this thing we have revised uh, just for the sake, because we, the interceptors and the filters are same, and usually people ask this thing as well, why to use which one. So the similar, in similar manner in which we create the filter, interceptors work in the same manner as well. All right, so in, for interceptor also we will have one config. Okay. But before creating the filter, let's create a file otherwise. First interceptor. Alright, and then I'll create a package of config, and then interceptor config. Okay, it will be a configuration file. Same thing will happen for this as well, right? Nothing new will happen. Now before writing our config file, what we can do is we can write our interceptor, and our interceptor will implements now. Implements, like where in the last part we were uh, extending the once per filter request, right? Over here we will do the handler interceptor, and it would be an interface, right? And then this interface has many methods, only 3. We will see each one, right? This method is default, that's why we are not forced to implement the methods, right? Because these are default methods, and default methods are concrete methods. So that's why we are not forced to provide the body, but yet we have to, otherwise it won't make sense. Okay, and default methods are not allowed in the no concrete classes, right? You can refer to the interface if you have any doubts regarding this. You can refer to the interface video, it is uploaded on the channel. Okay, so this pre-handle we have over here, right? Let's do one thing, just write hello and then return true. Okay, so this would be our one request, right? Like we had in the filter, we have the do filter internal, we have over here pre-handle, right? We have 3 methods, we will see each one of them later on, but before this is the thing that we have covered. And now for the configuration we have to add now, because we need to register, right? We need to register, but the thing is over here the register does not work like the way we did in our filters. With filters we just registered our bean, right? There was a filter registration bean and we just added a filter object, right? But over here what we need to do is we need to use a method and we will override it. Okay, I don't recall it. It was like add interceptor. Okay, all right, I think it's not here. Okay, okay. Yeah, here. Okay, cool. This is here, right? Add interceptor. All right. So again, defaults are not allowed, right? All right. So public. So over here now, this method was there in WebMC configured, but the default implementation was there, and we were registering or we were adding no interceptor, right? Like over here we have, over here in the filter part we have the filter registration, right? In the interceptor it would be the exact same. We have the intercept registry, right? In the registry we will register, right?
Yes.
So one thing also that we are overriding the method, and then the thing is again there is one Java concept working behind this. This add interceptor method that is from here, it has default, right? And but in our method I have made it public, so I have extended the scope of the
Method.
yes, access privilege I have increased, right?
Yes.
Stronger access privilege I have assigned to the method. That's allowed. Weaker is not allowed, right? Again, the Java concept. Cool. So let's go ahead, and now we already have the object of registry, right? Visual. We are
Yeah,
we
yeah.
get the registry object. So it's not like earlier we had to create the filter registration bean, right? And then we have to return, because we were creating a bean. Right now we are not creating a bean. The registry is already created. We just simply have to add the interceptor, right?
Okay.
And over here there is two way. One way is that I can create the interceptor every time, and another thing can be I can use I can create my interceptor as a component, right? And just directly ask them. Okay. Not scan this component, and then over here I can simply ask for private and first interceptor, and okay, let's call it first interceptor, and auto wire it by field injection. And okay, let me be sure. Okay, over here it's there, and then I will just add the first interceptor over here. Okay. I can create new as well over here, new filter, uh, new first interceptor, but it's usually because it's a part of interceptor config. It's completely part of Spring. It's a complete part of Spring, right? If you remove the Spring, your interceptor will not work, but your filters will work. Filter is a integral part of advanced Java, right? Or the servlets. And Tomcat is a servlet container, right? So now see what else we have done. Over here we have first we have set the filter, right? Over here we have set the interceptor, right? Then over here we have added the URLs, right? So the same thing needs to be happen over here, right? Let's see, add patterns, we already get it, right? The same thing we can do over here as well. Greet and then a string, right? Model. Then there is in the filters we get to set the beans as well, right? Order as well. But do we have this thing or do we have another methods? We have the orders as well, right? Over here we can set it like 0. Then we have additional method as well, right? Exclude as well we have, right? Not only include, we have exclude as well. Matchers as well, right? Partial matching if I want to do. But we are not going to use everything else. It would be enough for us to use now, and then we will just leave. Cool. So same thing, right? Same thing what we have done with the filters, we are doing with the interceptors, right? Everything is same. We have to register it, we are registering it, we have to create a config, we have to create the filter, we have to create the filter, we have created the filter, we have created the interceptor, we have created the filter config, we have created the interceptor config, right? And in the filter I have provided the object of the filter, set the order and provided the URL, right? Provided the object of the interceptor, set the order and provided the URL to work with it, right? Okay, so now I will run it again. Okay, let me add one more thing. Okay, first interceptor, cool. And now I will run. Okay, just rerun it. Now if I run the code again, so first interceptor is there, right? Visible? I'm audible?
Yeah, yeah.
So same in the same manner, if I write the second interceptor, right? What we have to do with the interceptor, we have to implement handler interceptor, right? And then we can pre-handle, we are working with the pre-handle, we will later on work with other thing as well. And now, okay, return to need, so this is out second filter, right? So if I rerun it again, will it print the second filter as well?
No.
Why?
Chain is not provided.
Come again?
Like chain concept is there, right?
Oh, okay, okay. Chain concept is automatically handled internally by the Springboot,
Interceptor. Okay.
right? So no chain filter is there, right? Okay. If there is no chain filter required over here, then will it work or not?
Uh, no bean.
What beat?
We need to provide the annotation, right, for the
Okay. Not bean, we will create component, right?
component.
Now it bean will be created, right? Cool.
Yes.
If I run this now, if I rerun it, now will it give me the I mean second filter as well? Oh, it's my bad. It's not filter. It's interceptor.
Interceptor.
If I run this again, will it provide two outputs, first and second interceptor?
Uh,
The answer would be no,
yes.
because I have to register it as well, right?
Yeah, 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 register.
Only registration part is left, right? Otherwise,
Yeah, yeah,
everything is
yeah.
fine. So private second interceptor at the rate autowire, right? So now the thing is, I have already added one interceptor, right? So can I add another interceptor as well? Is there a method in the registry to add and a method list, right? We don't have anything, right? Like I can add interceptor list, right? So if I add second interceptor, now two things is there, right? To remember, one thing is, if I'm writing code like this, will it override will it override the logic of the first, and only the second interceptor will be executed, or it both will work, right? There can be two things, right, which can happen over here. I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
See, in the registry we have registered first filter, then we have registered second filter, so first filter and second
Yes.
filter. And in the same
Mm.
manner, if I reverse the order and then run it again and then run the code, okay, alright, now I have to hit it again. So now the second filter and first filter, right? Because I changed the order.
Yes.
I'm reverting back. So that's why I completed the filters first, because otherwise this would have made little uh, less effort, right? So this is the one thing, right? But what we can do is, we need to know one more thing, that in the controller, right? Because we have also seen over here in the interceptor when we were creating it them. Now we just used one method, right? There are three methods. We have used only single method, right? Pre-handle. So, but for this, we need to know what's happening with our code as well, right? So the first line, right? Controller first line. Let's add controller first line, and our controller last line will be this only, right? Last line, because the next line is return statement, right? Control flow will go back to the response who asked the response from this method. So this would be the thing that will execute. If now let's see what was the sequence, right? So when I hit this thing, right? So what happened? Okay, let's go here. First the interceptor will work, right? Right now what happened? Right now we are working with the interceptors. So interceptor, right? So interceptor was there, right? And interceptor chain, they also has a chain, right? So interceptor 1, interceptor 2, and it can be interceptor 2n. So interceptor data needs to be printed, right?
Yes.
And then the data in our controller, right? Or the methods is out in the methods. So see what happened. Interceptors data, then the controller first line and second line, right?
Yes.
But they are intercepting the request, right? This is the request, right?
Mm.
Now what's the flow for the response? If when I have to give back the response, the flow will look like, just reverse this thing, right?
Yes.
So okay, let me remove this thing as well. Interceptors, let me remove this interceptors. And then just remove this, right? This is how thing happens, right? Internally it uses TCP, handshaking, and all those things happen behind the scenes. We are not going to dive deep into that, but
Mm.
this is how the request is flowing, right? Dispatch servlet, we have added the interceptors, we can add the filters as well, and now the controller is there, right? And from the controller it will go
Yes.
back to the web browser, right? So if the
Yeah.
interceptor can intercept the request, can it should have been able to intercept the response as well, right?
Yeah.
So the flow would change and will become this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I I so let me change first interceptor. All right, pre-handle, this is the method name, right? Pre-handle. Why
Yes.
is the second thing is showing over here? Okay, now it's fine. So this also has the pre-handle. It's a method, not handler. Handle, cool. But the thing is, there are other methods as well in there, right? There is a post handle as well, right?
Handle. Okay.
I have taken this out from here only, right? You have, you must have seen it, right? And okay, let's add public as well. And now okay, so this adds this out. Then first interceptor, and now it's the post handle, cool. And the same thing, let's copy paste in the second, and let's just change it to the second, right? Now rerun the server, and just to make sure it looks a little better, what we can do is we can add these much asterisks before and ending of our controller implementation. So run this again. Now what should happen when we are receiving the request? Interceptor 1 and 2 pre-handle will get executed, right? then the controller will work whatever it needs to work. Then when it sends back the response, before sending the response, the both interceptor will receive it again, right?
Yeah.
But when the both interceptor receive it again, then its post handle method will execute it, right? Now there is one
Mm-hmm.
question: the sequence in which I have written this, right? Will the
Mm.
sequence the sequence in which I have written right now, or it will change to this, right? This must be the question, right, in your brains.
Yes.
So let's see whether it will intercept the response or not, or rerun it again. And if intercepts, then what, in which order it will intercept, right? Let's check the order of the interceptors. So order is for the first interceptor is 0, right? Cool.
Yeah.
So let's hit it. First interceptor, alright, and the second interceptor, right?
Yeah.
Then execute it. Then the second and the first, right?
Yeah.
So the order in which it was written earlier was the correct one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because it is already placed in this manner. Hello. Hello. No, audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, let me just check it's open. Okay, my battery was drained. Alright, so where were we? Okay, cool. So we were at the
Yes.
interceptor site. So this is
Yes.
how the flow of the request was going through, and from the dispatcher servlet. I mean, dispatcher servlet was the one, right, who knows where to send the data, and from here we get back to from the response as well, right? So this is the flow that we have traversed through, right? So this we have completed. Okay, but the thing is, two things we have seen so far, right? So okay, one thing is pre-handle, which will get executed while we receive the request, right? Before execution of the controller methods, right? And another thing will happen, will get executed when we have completed the main method that needs to be executed, controller's method, and then the interceptors will execute again, right? But the post method, right? Then in the next time they are going to process the post handle method. But what about the third method, right? There were three methods over here, right? The third word method is after completion. So there are few things that we haven't covered yet. Views are the ones. So once we are done with the views, this is the thing that gets executed. Interceptor, and okay, over here, okay, cool. After completion, I'm just restarting the server. Now we will see the difference. If I hit this thing again, now see the total flow. The half of the flow we were already aware, right? Am I audible?
Yes, Abhishek.
So pre-handle will execute before execution of
Post handle.
controller methods, right?
Yes.
And post handle will get execute once the controller method is executed, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Then the last thing is left, and the last thing is
After completion.
after completion. See what happens with this. Uh, these interceptors are once the data has been returned, because we are working with the data, right?
Yes, yes.
Once the data has been returned, then what happens is we need to send the UI also, right? In the later sessions, we will see that we will return the UI part as well. We call them views, right?
Okay.
So before we send the view, this thing will get executed.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we need to know about the interceptors and all these things. Now we are done with the interceptors, but I want to make sure one thing. See, this is also, I mean, it's if you want to answer in the interview, you can also say that okay, once the request has been completed, we can say that this method will get executed, right? But the thing is, when we will consider the request has been completed, right? This is the thing,
Yeah.
because the controller method has been completed. Now the post it's not like there are only interceptors which can be accessed, right? Pre filters and post filters exist also, right? Their concept will also be
Yeah.
same, right? In this manner only. But the thing is, this is usually considered whenever we are just about to send the views. During that time, we will execute this thing after completion. But mostly we use these two only: pre-handle and post-handle. All right, but needs to know what is this. Now, one thing more I want to do in few minutes. We can we can see the session at least. Okay. Should we start the session or not? Okay, this thing is clear, right? Should we start the
Yes, sir.
session or not, or should we start the session the next session, next class?
We'll continue it next session. Once we'll go through it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's end the session today here.